Good Tuesday morning. This is 106.1 KYVZ. Joe Vizuric visiting once again with meteorologist Chris Sramek at Decision Weather in Atwood, as well as America's Weather Streaming Channel. Chris, we were talking yesterday about everything that we went through this past weekend, and you're kind of starting to see some numbers as far as just exactly how strong was the wind over the weekend.
Yeah, Joe, we were talking about this low pressure that came through here, and it didn't have much rain with it, and it caused a lot of severe weather in the form of wind, blowing dust, and what that entails with these dry conditions and the elevated fire conditions. So we saw fire, we saw wrecks out on the highways, we saw highways get closed down for a while, I-70, and then we've got the reports here this morning of what we actually seen. And like we said, it kind of started Friday afternoon with elevated fire concerns. We saw gusts pick up there later in the afternoon at upper 30s to around 40. Here in Atwood, we had a track meet going on, so that people were out in those winds. And then they really didn't go down. Overnight into Saturday, they continued to blow. They got up there to 50 miles an hour, blew through the day there on Saturday. And then when the low pressure came through about midday, or right before lunchtime, it kind of stopped for a while there for a bit, and then they turned to the west and just kept blowing at 50 miles an hour. So we didn't have really any time where the winds stopped, starting there Friday afternoon through Saturday. And then Sunday, they turned to the northwest. Behind that low pressure, as it spun over western and central Nebraska and just poured the northwesterly winds over the tri-state area. The max wind speeds that we had on Saturday ranged from the highest. We're out there in Ray and Yuma, where they reached into the 60 and 66. We had a 62 in Hill City. Then we had 50s, upper 50s in Burlington at 58, St. Francis 59, McCook had 59, and then we had 50s in Goodland, Colby, Oakley, and Oberlin, all in that 51, 52, and 53. And Atwood was actually the lightest, and Norton at 48 and 45. Then we went into Sunday, and that's when it was really windy here in Atwood. We saw the power go out a little bit, and they picked up again. On Sunday, the max gusts did reach those hurricane force levels, small hurricane levels of the 70 miles an hour. We hit 70 in McCook, Hill City, and Goodland. We had 60s in Colby, Atwood at 61, Oberlin, Yuma, and Ray were all in the 60s. And then we had 50s in Burlington, St. Francis, and Oakley and Norton. So that is what we experienced over the weekend. And then when we got out to Monday, we had the solar eclipse coming. We didn't know if we were going to have clouds or not. There was another system coming in behind this one. Would this one clear out of here in time? Would the winds go down? And would the clouds come up from the south with that activity that was brewing down there in Texas and Oklahoma? Well, the good news is one did get out of here. The winds went down. We actually woke up with pretty calm winds there yesterday morning. The system down in Oklahoma and Texas took a further south track and slowed up. So that allowed eclipse viewing to go off without a hitch across at least much of Kansas. You got into parts of Oklahoma. There were still issues. You got into northeast, the Dallas area, west of Texas, we're okay. In northern Arkansas, Missouri. So there was places that did see the eclipse, and it went off without a hitch. And here in Atwood, we had our eclipse activities, and was able to get a little footage that went on at the school and up at the high school and the grade school and around town. And, it didn't get real dark here like it did in the total path. But we saw 73%, and if you had your glasses and viewers on, you got to really see what that looked like. And we yesterday talked about the indigenous meaning of that and the unity and starting anew. And I guess that's what we're doing here today is starting a new spring season, a new forecast moving forward. And it looks like we're going to start off kind of opposite. We had all this wind, we had blizzards and tornadoes so far the last 2 or 3 weeks, and some snow out in Colorado, some severe weather. Now we're going to have a dry week. We got these systems moving away from us. That one in Texas is going to go through to the southeast. Severe weather and rain from Oklahoma City to St. Louis to the Midwest and south and east of that for the next 3 days. And during those 3 days, we're going to be pretty nice. We're going to be seasonal. We're going to have temperatures in that 60 to 65 degree range. Today, the winds are going to be light from the south direction. Overnight lows will be above freezing in the 30s, kind of where they should be this time of year. Winds will start picking up tomorrow and Thursday, turning to a north direction and becoming breezy in those upper teens and lower 20s. And then when we get to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we got a ridge that's building out west. Will come over the center of the country, and we could be talking near record high temperatures over the weekend. Looks like they're going to get into the 70s on Friday. We could be middle 80s on Saturday, lower 80s on Sunday. Looked ahead at some of those records. A lot of them are in the hitting 90, but there are some in that lower to mid 80s where we'll be over the weekend. So that up and down roller coaster that we saw since Christmas and actually Halloween this winter is going to continue, warm and hot and cold. And then looking ahead, past this weekend, we'll see rain chances again. This will elevate the dryness. We're in light, abnormally dry to moderate drought conditions from Rawlins County, Decatur County, down into Rooks and Graham counties. Those will not get better. And then we'll have the winds picking up and this dryness. So we're going to have elevated fire concerns starting again Thursday, Friday, and over the weekend. And then we're going to look ahead to next week. Good news is we got troughs developing out to the west, 2, maybe 3, that will cut off from the main jet, come over the mountains through the Midwest. And generally in the spring, when those lows cut off to the west and meander through the middle parts of the country, that means your better chances for your rain, some thunderstorms, and severe weather. So it does look like we'll see one of those next Tuesday, and then a couple more disturbances later in the week and the following week. So there should be a 10 to 15-day period to end the month of April with increased chances for rain. And looking like we're going to probably see the end of snow. The snow on the backside of those will be in Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana in the higher elevations.
My goodness, a lot of stuff to cover this morning. We talked anything about 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts to eclipse to thunderstorm chances, record heat. So definitely plenty of reasons to stay tuned to either the radio station or, of course, to the different YouTube channels and whatnot. We'll keep you updated. That, again, meteorologist Chris Sramek at Decision Weather Network, as well as America's Weather Streaming Channel. For KYVZ Radio, I'm Joe Vizurek.